I am the Dadcrafter, and this is another episode on my long-term survival world. In this episode, I'm going to be going ahead and fixing my auto sorter. I got a lot of great feedback from my prior live stream of my long-term world that people were very interested in my auto sorting storage room, so I figured it would be a good place to come back to here with a new episode. And quite frankly, I've been having some trouble with my storage room. The auto sorter is awesome, but it requires a little bit of maintenance now and then, especially when you have it hooked up to every different farm in your world, particularly when you have it hooked up to your mob grinder. The auto sorter works great for items that are stackable. It does not work, however, for items that are not stackable. What should happen with the auto sorter? You take items, you put them into one of the chests or one of the hopper systems that are connected to it. Those items then make their way down into the auto sorting system where they'll be fed into this here water elevator, which takes them up into the series of hoppers, which then brings them over to the correct chest. There's a system underneath here that actually causes those items to go up into the water elevator. And you'll see here, if you walk too close to it, the items will go into your inventory. But they go up that water elevator into a series of hoppers after coming into the system through this series of hoppers right here. So they come in, they come under, and over here to where there is a dispenser that's connected to a sticky piston. I don't really remember exactly how the redstone system works back there, but it pushes the item through and then spits it into that water elevator. The items then go through into the different hoppers, they make their way around, and this redstone setup behind each of the chests is actually what causes it to land in the correct chest. Now, within the hoppers behind each chest, there's supposed to be some filter items, which I'll show you what those look like later. And within each of those, it should be 4 blocks of the filter item and then 1 block of the item that you want to go into the chest. Now, as you saw in that last one, it was all dirt. This one here has a random pair of gold leggings. What happened is I didn't set up every chest in my sorting system to have an item associated with it. There's couple hundred different chests here, so just at the time that I built it, I didn't have all the different item types that I needed to set up every chest. So what ends up happening is as these non-stacking items make their way through my system, because they're coming in from the farms, they ultimately just kind of pick a spot and get stuck. And what happens then is that those chests become useless. They're not going to sort any items. This one here, I have a really good potato farm that's producing a ton of potatoes for me, and my potato chests got full, so they found a new place to go. And that's not really useful. What you'll see here is they've set up this other spot here, but they've ultimately clogged up the hopper underneath it, and that's just kind of a broken spot within the system. So somewhere along the way, that particular chest got broken. This one here has a bow sitting in it. That's not going to work. This one, like I said, broken because it should never have all those potatoes across. Those potatoes should look like it did in the one above it, where it would just have one line of potatoes, and actually should only have one single potato in that bottom hopper. It's only the top hopper that should have the multiple potatoes on the left side. It should have multiple of the item on the left, like there, the 41 potatoes, and then the filter items to the right. So we've got some maintenance that we need to do on my sorting system to get everything working right. I'm not really sure why this bottom hopper here is getting stuck with the potatoes, but the biggest thing that we can do to fix it is going to be to take those potatoes out of the bottom hopper and then ultimately see if we can't get that system to work. So we're going to go around here, and you're going to see throughout my storage system there's a number of these locations where things just aren't quite working right. And anywhere that that's the case, we're going to need to fix it in order to get the sorting system working at top-notch efficiency, or really, truly working at all. So I'll show you a couple different things here as I go, that will help you understand maybe how this sorting system all works. All credit on the design of the sorting system goes to Shulkercraft. That's who posted the YouTube video that I used to actually build this system. The modifications that I did were mainly to the aesthetics. Some of the things that I did just are a little different in terms of the visual build on the inside. But here you'll see, once again, this bottom chest here has just loaded up with random junk from my mob grinder. Because my mob grinder is attached, it just loads that junk. So I'm going to take all that junk, toss it in my garbage can, which is a open spot of lava on the floor there. Now there is a system designed to move those things out of the sorting system. On the right there you see there's a chest on the floor. That's actually to collect any overflow. And that series of hoppers ends there on the right and goes down into that chest. The problem is if that chest gets full, everything goes haywire. And I'll show you here in a second what's going on with that particular chest. So you'll see here, these are the hoppers that are heading over to that overflow chest. They're full. They're full because the overflow chest is full. You'll see there's dirt trying to work its way through. Well, I didn't set up enough chests to collect dirt, so dirt is now an overflow item. Well, overflow items make their way to the overflow chest. So you'll see this series of hoppers now going all the way down into that chest. It's full. It's full of dirt. And, that doesn't do me any good. It doesn't do anyone any good. And most of all, it doesn't do this chest any good because this chest is full of not just dirt, but also all these just junk items from my mob grinder. So first thing I need to do is I need to clear out that overflow chest. And you'll see over here in the background the potatoes that are going up there. There's a couple of pieces of wool. Those are coming in from my farms, my wool farm, my potato farm. Those items are just making their way automatically into my sorting system where they're being fed into that water elevator where they'll ultimately make their way into the hopper system and make their way over to, hopefully, the correct chests within my storage area. The problem is if those chests aren't set up, they'll never find their way there, or they'll bypass the chest because it's full, and then they'll try to set up a new place for themselves, or they'll end up here in the overflow. The overflow only works properly when all of the chests are actually set up properly, and in this case, it's not that they were all set up properly, it was that they all kind of set themselves up with something, causing overflow items to go into that overflow chest. So, we're going to get the overflow chest cleared out, but before we really can make this whole thing work, we've got to get all of the pre-set up chests. So all of the chests that are supposed to have something set to go into them, we need to have them cleared of all the junk. So we got to find anywhere that we've got random bows, random armor, like here we go. Again, this overflow series of hoppers, it's full of junk. All of this junk has come from my mob farm, my mob grinder. So kind of getting the lesson here for myself that I probably need to disconnect my mob grinder from this sorting system. It's just not worth it because of the way that it's clogging everything up to have it continue to be connected. We got a lot of junk here that we need to throw away. There's a couple items that were worth saving, so we'll set up a shulker box here to collect those items so that we can sort them later. Most likely what that means is that those items don't have a chest set up for them to go into. So what's happening is they're just ending up in that overflow because there's no chest that they can make their home. So going to continue to work our way through here. And it looks like it's all arrows and dirt now that's left, and that's fine. Arrows and dirt both stack. Well, there we go. We got more bows, another helmet. But arrows and dirt are fine because they'll stack. We just need to set up a place for them to go that they can actually end up in a chest, sorted and stored for easy usage. The whole point of this system is to make it so that when I want to build something, I can find the things that I need really easily, and then when I'm done, I can just throw things back into a chest and have them make their way back to the place they're supposed to be. It's supposed to help eliminate the work of sorting items. But, every once in a while, when you've got a system that's meant to eliminate work, you have to do a little bit of work to keep it functioning. And you can see there is just so much junk clogging up this system. It's because I use my mob grinder quite a bit. Anytime I need experience, I go and I just, kill mobs until I get the level of experience that I need. And what's been happening is over time, they've all just been dropping loot down in here. And the mob grinder drops bows and arrows and everything else armor wise, so that all ends up in here. You can see it wouldn't be one of my videos if I didn't have an encounter with an Enderman. This sorting room, for whatever reason, Endermen love to hang out in here. I always seem to find them hanging out in my auto sorter, so when that happens I usually try to fight them or ignore them, more often than not fight them. So you saw that guy there, we gave him a whack. Right now, just kind of checking the backs of all of these. Now, anytime that you see that it's just that one item, what that means is up above that, there is the filter hopper. So there's a series of two hoppers on top of each other. This one here at the top is the filter. So on the right side, those 4 cobblestone pieces are filter stones. On the left is the item that is selected for this chest. That top row there, that's the row that's bringing the items around the system into those hoppers that are sorting everything. So you can't really see here from the bottom because you have to go up on top to see that there's a top more hopper that has the filter items to go along. And here, I'll go up here for a second and you'll see, like, if I were to click on any one of these hoppers, it should have the filter item on the left, the filter item on the right, and then the item that we're filtering for on the left. Just like that there, we've got, so the 41 is how many will sit in the hopper. Any number over that is what will filter its way down into the chest. So you're always going to have a little bit of waste in this system. You have to have at least 41 of an item for it to work. 42 really, because down below you're going to get an extra. And like these clay balls, they shouldn't be there. They shouldn't be building up. So if you see here, I drop them up top. They're going to start making their way down now into that hopper and filtering through into the actual hopper or into the actual chest where they will be stored. So going to continue going all the way around this farm, just grabbing up all of the junk items and kind of seeing what's going on behind each of my chests to make sure that I have things set up the way that I want them. Once I get all the junk out, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start setting some chests up with different items. So for example here, I randomly have 28 pieces of chain sitting right next to my dirt chest. Well, I need another dirt chest. So I'm going to get that chain out of there. I'm going to make this one another dirt chest. So I'm going to take this 64 dirt, pop it into that hopper, randomly had a mine cart in there, and now the dirt's going to find its way through the system into that series of chests. So now if I put new dirt into my sorter, oh boy, there's that Enderman. So I messed with him, and he took a while till he came back and found me, but eventually he did. They always do. He came over and decided to have a little battle. So we took out the Enderman, but what I was saying was, now when I put dirt into my system, it will filter its way into that chest that I just set up. And I might even need to set up another one. Each of these stations is 2 double chests. So 2 double chests holds quite a bit, but as you can see, I've cleared out quite a bit of dirt and put it into my system. So might need even more. But the system here, this chest, this particular double chest, is a feeder chest. So I can put items into there. They will feed then into the sorting system. You'll see them coming up here through that water elevator. They're getting pressed up and through. I'm going to grab the rest of them here out of this chest, and we're going to do the same thing and drop them into our feeder chest. And then what you'll see is that they'll find their way into the primary chest full of dirt. Now over here, randomly had an ender pearl in a chest, so I'm also just still kind of making my way through and trying to figure out, like, why are different chests empty? Why are different chests full? I've put those picture frames with the single item in them to help me see what's supposed to be in a chest, and that one, it looks like it is supposed to have ender pearls. There just weren't enough ender pearls for them to really be filtering through, so we'll drop some ender pearls into the feeder chest. I did also notice as I was making my way around that I have a few stations that don't have a picture frame. I think at one point I probably didn't have enough leather to make all the picture frames. So we'll make sure that those get taken care of. Over here, I noticed that I've got 2 different raw beef chests. So once again, at some point, the system had an empty chest, and beef fed in from one of my farms and found its way into a random chest. Well, I don't want 2 kind of random across the hall from each other beef chests. I want to have the one central chest here that has all of the raw beef. In this case, it's right next to my cooked beef chest, so this is the one that I want to have with my raw beef. So now we'll go back inside the system. We'll go behind that raw beef one that we didn't want. We have to kind of climb up on top of the system here, go all the way over and find the hopper, and here we go. Sure enough, it's got raw beef in it, and you'll see as soon as I took that out, this station is trying to become a dirt station. So because there's nothing in that hopper, dirt that's in the system currently being sorted is now going into that hopper. It'll total up to 41, and then anything else will find its way through. So I'm going to put the beef back there for a second because I don't want dirt to end up in that chest. I want the dirt to end up in the chest that I just created for dirt. So we'll put that up in the top hopper so it continues to filter through. To make a picture frame or a series of picture frames, we need sticks and we need leather. So we'll grab some wood out of one of our wood chests. we'll craft some planks, we'll craft some sticks, and we'll go ahead and we'll craft up some picture frames. And that'll let us go ahead and finish off all of the remaining stations that were missing a picture frame so that we can see what's in the chest. Because if we're going to make this over here into a dirt chest, we need to know that it's a dirt chest. It's underneath this other dirt chest, so that kind of tells you a little bit maybe about what it is, but I want it to be really clear that this here is a chest full of dirt. So we'll go ahead and we'll put the picture frame, and then we'll put the piece of dirt in the picture frame so that we know what's there. And we'll add picture frames to these other stations where we didn't have them. You know, again, we didn't have items set up for these, so it didn't really need picture frames. And, you know, I at some point didn't finish off the build by adding all the picture frames. You know, we've talked about this. My biggest weakness is I love to build things. I don't always love to finish the builds. But you'll see, you know, a lot of these don't have enough of an item to even show up in the chest, but the picture frame was set up to match what's behind it. So like that one there had the evergreen tree, spruce tree, I guess that is, spruce sapling. So you see behind it there is spruce saplings, but I'm going to change that out because I have another spot for spruce saplings, and I wanted to make that one my picture frame station. So we'll remove the spruce sapling from the front, and we'll actually put a picture frame inside of a picture frame so that we know that that is now my picture frame station. You know, it's sometimes you just got to do things in the most logical way, and for me that is the most logical way. And this one over here, I don't think, or I do think actually that it's set up for flint, but it didn't have a flint in the picture frame, so we'll go ahead and we'll put one in there, and we'll check from behind, and it's actually not set up. Well, actually, I think we got to go up a level here to see what it's set up for, and it's the one that's feeding into the redstone system. And that actually had a baked potato, which definitely not what we wanted there. We want the flint, so we won't let the dirt flow in there. We'll put the flint there. But again, until we get to 41, that's not going to actually feed anything into the chest. So you see there's a hopper feeding into the redstone. That's the one that determines what's going to ultimately be allowed through into the chest that's associated with that station. So again, really complex redstone setup here. Definitely not my build or my within my capacity to do that. So right now, what I'm doing is I realized I didn't have anything in the picture frame on the other side of this. So we're going to go ahead and take a piece of this warped wood and bring it over and put it into the frame. Same thing with some of these other ones. We're just verifying, like, do they really have what's in them? And the tough part is I got to keep going like front to back. Like there is no easy way from the front to get to the redstone system in the back. So you have to kind of go in the front, look at the chest, count, okay, this is the first section, the fourth chest, and then go behind and look in the first section, the fourth hopper, and sure enough, that was what was there. So I'll go ahead and I'll drop some more in there. And now that will feed into the chest. Again, it'll drop down to 41. At 41, it'll stop going down, and then it will find its way into that chest that I just set up to be my warped, warped stem, storage station. So pretty, simple in concept, how this all works. Like you set up the hopper behind, and then the chest in front gets what it needs. It's simple if you have it set up right. But like I said, the setup process does kind of involve going front to back all the way around. I left these openings so that I could continue to do this. Like unless you set everything up perfectly from the day that you do this build, you're going to have to be able to have access to the back of it in order to make things, the way you want them. And in this case, once again, I've got some random cooked pork chops where I wanted my baked potatoes to go. So I'm going to put in here a stack of baked potatoes. That's going to filter down to that 41. Once it hits 41, any additional potatoes that cross through that hopper will find their way into the chest. So we've got a baked potato chest now here in the same section as our wheat, as our regular potatoes. Kind of makes sense to me. Maybe I could have put them side by side, but didn't really think to do that. Another farm that I have that's really producing a lot is my iron farm. It has completely overwhelmed my chest that I had set up for iron. And again, for some reason, this next hopper down is full. That should never happen. That should always feed into the chest below. And you can see the chest isn't full. It's just that the hopper was full. Like I don't really understand why that was happening, but to fix it, I need to clear this hopper out. I can't have a hopper full of iron or else it won't work. Now if I feed this one in at the top, that one piece should stay there and the rest should filter through the hopper system and into the chest. One of the two. There's a top chest and a bottom chest here that are both being fed by this system. One or the other should receive all of the iron that gets fed into that top piece there, and you'll see it is flowing through, but I'm looking at this top chest, and I actually need to be looking at the bottom chest because that's where the iron is going to first, as it's making its way into the bottom chest. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just verify that it's working, because not seeing it go into the top chest has me wondering, like, what is happening to this iron that I keep feeding into this hopper. I can see that it's going down, but I can't see that it's going into the chest. So we're actually going to put it up above. Now this is where normally when stuff comes out of that water elevator, it goes into this top system of hoppers that are feeding all the way around. And when it goes over the right station, it'll fall out of that top chain of hoppers down into this one, which will then feed it down. And if I go over now and find that station, I can see the iron is indeed feeding into the bottom chest, not the top chest, but it is feeding in like it should. So it's working, but it just was not going into the chest I thought it was. If I go over here now, I can see that I've got another iron chest. I don't need two iron chests right now when this, or two stations I should say, when this one's not even full. So I'm going to bring the iron across the hallway from one side to the other. This one was not set up to be an iron station, or at least not intentionally. It got set up because at one point that one was probably full, and this one just set itself up. So if I go behind there, what I'll see is that there's going to be iron in that hopper behind that chest. So we'll go right here, we'll look in that hopper, and sure enough, it's got that 41 iron. This one next to it randomly has sticks in it. Again, my stick chest must have gotten full at some point, so it tried to set up a new station. Now, the problem with what I just did, taking the iron out of there and not putting anything in, is that something else will randomly set itself up there. The solution to that being, I need to put a filter stone in. So you see how these pieces of cobblestone say filter item. I actually need to come over here to my anvil, and I need to name some cobblestone filter item. By naming it filter item, it will now operate as a filter stone as opposed to a regular piece of cobblestone. And now what I can do is in those stations where I don't know what's going to go there, I can just put a filter stone in that last slot. By doing that, nothing else is going to go in there. It's not going to try to fill itself up with something else. And now I really can go around my entire station and put those where I'm not sure. And when I am sure, come back and put in the item. So in this case, I want to make this a dirt station, and I want to make this one here a cobblestone. I'm sorry, I want to block that one off. So I'm going to take these random items that have set themselves up, put the filter item stone in there. So these are items that are, again, coming from my mob grinder. Rotten flesh, gunpowder, bones, just things that overwhelmed the chest they were supposed to go in, so they found themselves a new space. But then as I took items out of those chests, they don't go to this new one, they go to the one they're supposed to. So by putting that filter item stone in there, I'm basically protecting these stations from getting random items. And going forward, they won't be clogged up, and when I decide what I want to put there, I'll be able to put it there without any issue. So speaking of that, I think what I want to do now is kind of show you an example of how to set up a station with a new item. And an item that I don't have a lot of and don't really have stations set up for is terracotta. And it's a great example item because terracotta comes in a number of different colors. And what I want to do is I want to set up the different colors of terracotta next to each other in my sorting station. So we're going to go ahead here and fly over to our Badlands biome. And we're going to find ourselves a section that has some different colors of terracotta. This one looks like it's got regular yellow and orange. I think there's some white and brown down below. So we're going to go ahead here. We've got a shulker box with us, and we're going to mine an entire shulker box plus whatever other room we have in our inventory. We're going to try to get a combination of colors. We want yellows, we want oranges, we want whites, we want the standard terracotta color, we want brown, we really want to have all the different colors. So you're going to see here, I've got you going in uber fast motion so that you're not watching me mine. I think this was about 25 or 30 minutes of total mining. Thankfully, I've got my netherite pickaxe here with efficiency 3 or 4, as well as a unbreaking on there so that it's not getting broken as I'm doing this. Mining right through the night, so a little bit of a mob battle ensues there. But I wanted to get a ton of terracotta so I can show you just how easy this is using my sorting system to set up a station and then sort the items properly into the system using just that drop chest, just that same double chest I showed you before, where I can drop items in and have them end up where I want them as opposed to just ending up randomly anywhere. So I've got it now. I've got my entire inventory full. I've got my shulker box full. So now it's just time to fly on back and make my way down again into my storage room, my auto sorting storage room. And we're going to go ahead and find, it was over here that we wanted to set this up. So we'll go from the back. We'll take out that filter stone and we'll replace it with a color of terracotta. So brown in that one. We'll do standard terracotta in this one. In this one here, we'll do the yellow terracotta. And then in this one here, we'll go ahead and put our, what was that, white. And then in this one here, we'll do our light gray. And then we've got, I think, a couple more colors we can set up here. This one here, we'll do our orange. And then I think we've got the rest of it in our shulker box. So we'll have to grab from our shulker box the rest of our orange here, because we need to have more than 41, remember, for it to flow through. And the easiest way from the other side to know what's in each box is to have enough actually flow through. So in this case, I know brown goes here because there's brown in the chest. So I'll put a brown in my picture frame so that I know that that's where the brown is going to end up going forward. Now I realize I've been saying picture frame. Minecraft calls them item frames. I suppose that's probably a more apt name as item frame, but I always call them picture frame in my head. This one here, you can see it had stone in it, so we need to go ahead and fix that, take the stone out, and we'll put the yellow into the item frame so that we've got our right color. We'll get our white terracotta here, put into that item frame. We'll get our dirt that apparently has ended up in this chest out, which makes it so now we don't really know, but it looks like the light gray found its way into the top chest because there was already dirt there. That might mean that there's an issue with the hopper system in the back, so we'll have to take a look at that. But we'll put our light terracotta in the item frame there, our light gray, so that we get that where we want it. And then we've got, I think, one more over here on the other side. Oh, we'll just throw some light gray in there. We got one over here, I think was orange. Yeah, so we'll grab our orange terracotta and put it into this item frame. So now we've got all of our different terracotta colors, and all we need to do is just pop what we have in our inventory into this double chest that will feed it down into our sorting system. We had grabbed some random things like stone and dirt while we were cleaning things up, so we'll drop those in there too, and they'll go right where they're supposed to be. That's the beauty of this sorting system, is that I don't need to go around and find the right chest and put items where they need to be. I just drop them into this double chest, and they start making their journey through the system into the right location. So I'll grab everything out of my shulker box, just going to load this chest up. You can see and probably hear right now all of the dispenser noises in the background, the splashing, the dispensed items. If I go around the corner here, I can see in my water elevator that I've got terracotta flowing like crazy out of my dispenser and up into my system. So that's now making its way up into the hopper system. Once it gets itself up into the hopper system, it's going to find its way over to the correct chest for its color. So if I make my way from here over to the chest, we're going to see that the yellow has made its way to the yellow, the orange has made its way to the orange, brown has made its way to the brown, so on and so forth. So we'll go ahead now and we'll make our way over to the chests and show you exactly what that looks like. So we go around the corner here, we look in the brown, and we now have a couple stacks of brown, couple stacks of terracotta, a couple stacks of yellow. You can see that one is still filling up because the items are making their way into the chest. And if we look over here at the other colors, we're going to see the same thing, that they have now got all of the right colors sorted into them. So the system is working. When we put items into our chest, they'll find their way where they're supposed to be. Now, one of the other things that I did differently from the original design was I built my storage system underground. The design that I found actually shows it built into like a cave wall. So I completely redesigned this thing to be underground, but I built this cool stairway down to it, but I found it to be a little inefficient to get in and out. Sometimes with an Elytra, you just want to fly in, fly out. So I built that ceiling opening, which is controlled by a lever on the inside, and this redstone that you see here is what takes the signal from that lever down on my main level up to that doorway in the ceiling. So the idea being that if you're walking around above this, you would never know that it was actually directly below your feet. But the problem is right now, I have it set up so that the only lever to operate it is down in the storage system. So it makes it a little bit well, hello there, Mr. Zombie. hanging out up here in the dark. We'll take care of him and his buddy too. Let's get rid of that guy. We'll light it up in here since we're up here. So I never actually put the lever in to open it from the top side. So right now, if I'm up top, the only way in, if it's closed, is to come down the staircase. That's not really effective. What I'd like to be able to do is to open this from either the top or the bottom. So you can see it's a pretty complex setup of redstone. It's a basic sticky piston setup that is got two different functionalities. It's got to push the bricks together and then push them up in order to show make a flat surface up above. So what I need here is I need another lever and I need some redstone, because all I'm looking to do is connect an additional lever to my redstone system. So we've got the sorting system working. We may as well make it so that now it not only works, but works and has a functioning entrance from the top end. So just trying to figure out here right now, like, where can I put a lever that will make this function? I'm thinking that right over here where I've got that torch might be an option. If I run a piece of redstone here and put my lever here where the torch is, I'm thinking that might make the redstone function. So we'll go ahead here. We'll try flipping that lever, and nothing happened. It didn't do anything. So that spot is not the right spot. We need to make sure we put the lever in a spot where it will cause the redstone signal to start and end. So basically interfering with the signal coming from the downstairs area. So you can see it comes up this series of stairs, goes into each of these different redstone pieces, and then goes over to the system. So it looks like maybe right here would actually be the spot to put an interrupter. And I'm just checking to make sure I didn't break my whole redstone chain here when that block fell. Doesn't look like anything happened, so I think I'm in the clear. But I need to do a little bit more work before I place the lever. So we're going to go ahead here and we're going to open up the wall a little bit more. We're going to remove this block. We're going to put the lever up on top of that block. And actually, we're going to open this up because now I can see that I'm just below ground level here. So we'll open up the ground so that we've got some light here. And we're actually going to now connect our redstone in and make it so that we've got a lever that's accessible from the surface. So we'll open up that block and we'll open up this block, and now we'll put our lever right here onto this block. I think that's going to be what we need. So now when we activate that, it went ahead and closed it. And if I flip it again, it's going to go ahead and open it. Perfect. So we've got it working now. That was exactly what I was hoping to do, was make it so that from here at the surface, I could open and close my redstone and make that little portal into my storage system open and close without having to go down in the ground first to do it. Now, I don't love that I just have a switch hanging out on the ground now. That wasn't really my goal, to have a random switch on the ground. I want it to work. I want it to be here. I do want to double check though and make sure I didn't break the switch down here. So let's go ahead down here and let's try flipping the switch down here. When we flip it, that's right, it closed, perfect. And if we flip it again, it should open. Beautiful. Okay, so it's working. We've got a two-way switch that's working, but now we just need to relocate this switch a little bit, because what I want is I want this lever to hide on my upper level of the world. I don't want it to be so obvious that it's a lever. I want it to be kind of like a secret switch. So we're going to take out that piece of sand. We're going to add redstone and bring it over here by my path. And you see on my path behind me, once I turn around, I'll show you, I've got some lanterns that are lighting up that pathway. Well, those lanterns are on kind of like a light pole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the switch there, the lever. It still works. There's still enough strong enough signal. We'll go ahead and we'll close off the dirt, bringing us to the lever. So it'll look like there's only that one open spot. And on top of that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to place our lantern post, our light post. And that light post is more or less going to hide the fact that there is a lever underground. You're not really going to be able to see the lever because now it's hidden below that light post. If you know it's there, you're absolutely going to be able to find it. But if you didn't know it was there, you might not realize that it was there because it's now hidden under this light post, which is just a regular old part of my world. There's other light posts, and in fact, I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to clean this up so that the light posts are a little more standard, because I do have a few of them, but I don't think I have enough to sell it. So we'll go ahead and we will add some more light posts so that this doesn't stand out as being anything unusual. Now you will notice that the dirt is dirt where there's grass all around it. Give it a few minutes and the grass will grow onto that dirt. So like if I go on an adventure and come back, that'll just look like dirt, like grass again. It won't look like dirt. But right now what I'm doing is I'm adding in those additional light posts so that this pathway has kind of a uniform set of light posts. You see a wandering trader showed up, nothing that I wanted, but we'll see that now this pathway looks very normal, has a kind of regular series of light posts on either side of it, and the net result is that my lever is now fairly hidden and wouldn't be the easiest thing to spot. If you were to show up here, didn't know that there was a sorting system underneath you, you would have no idea and you wouldn't be able to find it all that easily. Now, of course, I have a stairway over here. This is my personal world. I'm not really hiding things from anyone but myself, but I've finished my build, and the coolest part is now I take all the pieces that I don't need, all my extra redstone, my extra lanterns, my extra sticks, and anything else, and I drop it into this chest up here, and that will feed it down into my sorting system where it'll find its way into the right chest so that the next time I want to do a project, everything is exactly where I need it, just waiting for me to come and find it. And I can kind of fly off here and go up on top of one of my other builds and look around and kind of ask myself, all right, one more project done here on my long-term world. We've got a sorting system that's now functioning fully once again. We've got a hidden switch from the top so we can get in and out really easily. Looking around, it's like, okay, what do I want to work on next? And of course, the thing that really stands out to me is this half-finished castle over here on the right. I think that might be my next project, or maybe this empty space here on the right. Who knows? One of those two things really could be the next thing that I focus on. But let's just show you how this all functions now. We showed you at the beginning me having a hard time finding something in my sorting system. Well, now I can go ahead and I can fly out of my sorting system. I can find my way onto my land, go do whatever it is I need to do, close off my system from the top so that nobody finds it while I'm out and about. And then, of course, when I'm ready to go back down in there, I just have to walk over, flip my switch again, and it will open up that opening here on the floor, drop myself down into my storage room, where I can quickly and easily find whatever it is that I'm looking for. And once I've found it, it's just as easy to make my way out. One quick rocket blast, and I am on my way to my next project, ready to build whatever it is that I want to build. If you've enjoyed this episode or any of the content here on the Dadcrafter channel, please be sure to like the video, please subscribe to the channel, and of course, leave me a comment. Let me know what you want to see more of on my long-term world or any other world. I am the Dadcrafter, and I can't wait to catch you on the next episode.